Hey guys, what's up? Kristen from Barefoot Theory here. So one of the questions that I get most about my spinner van is what my solar setup is and how much solar panel power I have on the roof and sort of what my battery setup is like. It's probably one of the most complicated parts of building out a Sprinter van. So today I'm going to talk about my setup. I'm going to try to break it down into simple terms. If you're trying to build out a van, hopefully that's helpful. And I'll also talk a little bit about what I would do differently next time around. My solar system consists of two panels on the roof. I have a 100-watt panel and an 80-watt panel. They're both made by Zamp Solar, which is based out of Bend, Oregon. I chose Zamp because they really make durable, quality solar panels that are kind of becoming the industry standard. So companies like Sportsmobile and Outside Van, they're all using Zamp. Secondly, they're made right here in the US, which is really awesome because most solar panels are made in China or somewhere in Asia. So I felt it's really good to support a US company that's making their products here. Third, they make some unique shaped panels and different size panels. So that space on the outside of the fan on the roof is kind of long and narrow, and they make an 80-watt panel that fits right next to the Fantastic fan or a Max Air fan. Whatever fan you have on the roof, they have a panel that will fit right on the side of that fan, so it's not wasted space on the roof. In addition to the solar I have on my roof, I also have a 120-watt panel that's also made by Zamp that I can run an extension cord out to. So the times that I would use that would be if I'm going to be parked somewhere for an extended period of time and I want a little extra juice, I could run an extension cord out to that panel and continue to charge my batteries a little bit more with that. Or say it's a hot summer day, I don't want to park in the sun because it makes the van too hot, I can also set up that panel and still be getting some power to my batteries. So the Zamp portable panel comes in a nice semi-hard case, and it's pretty slim, and so in my van it fits really nice between the couch and the driver's seat. So my battery system consists of 325-hour batteries. So I have 3 of those for a total of 375 amp hours. They're 12-volt AGMs, which means that their AGMs are okay to be inside the van, so you don't have to mount them outside. In addition to the solar that charges my batteries are also hooked up to the alternator in my car via a battery separator. So that means as I'm driving down the road, my batteries are charging off my alternator, and then when I arrive at camp, I'm pretty much arriving full. If you are going to do a van, I would definitely suggest hooking them up to your alternator. It's a very powerful source of energy and basically, keeps them topped off all the time, even if it's not sunny out, and anytime you're driving, they're constantly charging. So the other major component of an electrical system in a van is your inverter. So I have a 2,000-watt Magna Sine inverter, which basically what an inverter does is it takes the power from your batteries and converts it to AC power, which is what comes out of your outlets and is what allows you to charge things and run your electronics in the van. The wattage of your inverter is basically what determines how many things you can be plugging in at a time. So a 2,000-watt inverter is pretty powerful. It means you can run pretty powerful, high draw things. I can run a blender in here, I could run a coffee maker in here. If I needed to run some sort of power tool, I could do that in here. And that's because I have a very powerful inverter. So the final piece of your electrical system is you need a meter that tells you basically the current status of your batteries and how much you're drawing on. Mine came with my inverter. It's the Magnum Energy meter that I have on my wall there. I also have a midnight solar reader, which is under my couch. That's basically connected to my solar panels. So if I was going to do it all over again, I would just get the Zamp controller, which comes with the solar panels. They sell different kits, but I started out with a different set of solar panels and had all this equipment already in here, so it didn't make sense for me to replace the entire controller when I got the new panels. Okay, so all of my electrical system is located under the couch/bed here. So this wood panel just comes off like that. All of my batteries are located behind this, which I'm not going to pull off, but they're just hooked together behind this, and then this is my whole electrical system. So this is the battery separator, which hooks the alternator up to my batteries. This is my Magna Sine inverter, the 2,000 watt, which I mentioned. This is where I plug in the portable panel. if I want to run an extension cord to it. This is my solar kit. It's a midnight solar, kind of tells me how much is coming in from the solar panels at any given time. This is the fuses that go to my solar panels, so I can shut them off here if I need to. And then these are my Webasto fuses, so that's how I control the heater in the van. If I need to pull a fuse, I can do it from there. So that's basically how my setup works from below. Okay, so this is the meter I was just talking about. And so right now I have my computer and my drone batteries plugged in. And I can see on the panel here how much power I actually have. So it says inverting 12.7. So a full charge, when it's full, it'll read 12.8. Sometimes when I'm driving or if I have a lot of sun and I don't have anything plugged in, it will read up to like 13.3 or 13.4, and that's just reading the input that's coming in from the panels. The thing to watch out for is, so that number, when it starts to get down to like 12.2, 12.1, that's when I start to think like, okay, like I need to either get my car into the sun, I need to drive so that the batteries are charging from the alternator, or I also have the option of plugging in, which if I plug in overnight, my batteries will charge back to full. You never really want to get below 12 with the AGM batteries, because you know, once you start getting below, they're getting really depleted, and that can damage the batteries over the long term. Okay, so what am I charging in here? There's a bunch of different things that I'm charging when I'm in my van. I have a computer, I have a phone, I have a camera and a bunch of camera equipment, and then there's also some electronics in the van that require charging. So my refrigerator is probably the biggest draw on my system. I have an Isotherm 65 Cruise Elegance. It's pretty efficient, but it still consumes some power to keep things cold. And then I also have a Webasto Dual Top Evo 6 heater, which heats the air and the water. It mostly runs off diesel, but it does consume a little bit of the power in the van when it's running. So this is my controller here, which is right next to my meter, which is nice. So then I can kind of keep a close eye on it when the heater's on. So if you read my recent FAQ post on my blog about my Sprinter van, I answered a bunch of the frequently asked questions that I get. But I also mentioned in that blog post that I'm getting ready to sell this van and I'm going to start over on a 170-inch wheelbase. And so I wanted to share some of the things that I'm going to do different in the next van in terms of my electrical system. So the first thing is I'm definitely going to keep the batteries hooked up to my alternator. I think that's an awesome thing to do, and I wouldn't have a van without it. Second is I'm going to increase my battery bank by just a little bit so I have more power for staying off the grid longer. Next summer I'm going on a cross-country road trip for probably like 7 months, and so I want to make sure that I can stay off the grid as long as possible and don't have to worry ever about plugging in. Third, I'm going to stick with the Zamp solar panels, but I'm going to have more solar on the roof. So I'm going to have a few more of those 80-watt panels, the long skinny ones. And then I'll also have a bigger one in the front. But by expanding my solar panels on the roof, it means I don't have to have the portable panel. So I think the portable panel is an awesome feature if you have a 144-inch Sprinter and you want to save some of your roof space for other things like cargo, or you want to hang out on the roof because you don't want to walk on the solar panels. So the portable panel does save some space up there if you want to have more empty roof space. Number 4, I'm definitely going to keep a powerful inverter, the 2000 watt. That means that if I want to charge my e-bikes, which I didn't mention, we have a couple of e-bikes that we like to take with us on the road. Those kind of draw a lot and require a bigger inverter. So I'll definitely stick with the 2000 watt inverter. Overall though, I think the setup in this van is awesome. You know, if you're using this van for vacation or a weekend vehicle or long weekends, and you're not really working from it, the system is totally more than adequate. It's only for long-term travel, and with all the different things that I'm charging in here, that I think I need a slightly more robust solar setup and battery system. There is room on the roof for another one of those 80-watt panels. I built the rack to accommodate another one of those if in the future I wanted to add another panel, so there is that option down the road. Those are the basics of my electrical setup in my Sprinter van. I really appreciate you watching. If you have questions that I didn't answer in this video, make sure to leave them in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel to get notified when new videos go live. And also, for those of you that don't know, I have a very robust website. It's called barefoottheory.com. Everything about my van is posted there. I have an FAQ section. I have a full tour of the van and talks about all the different components, so make sure to go check that out. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.